Well, back to Big Stevie Cool 1872. It was a wee bit of a depressing morning, to say the least. Slash night, of course. Come on, those comments. Sell before we buy. Well, yesterday as well, let's talk about this. We were linked with a certain Joan, Jordan, whatever you want to call the guy, alright, playing currently for Sevilla, 30 years of age, once valued at £30 million, down to a measly £3 million. But forget about his value. The Rangers were linked with a loan move. Rangers put in a wee loan move manoeuvre. And what happens? It comes crashing down. Why does it come crashing down? I'll tell you why it came crashing down, brother. Testify, the immortal Hulk Hogan style. Because Rangers actually wanted Sophia to pay a part of the wages, which I believe he's on 70 grand a week. Just not feasible for us. I mean, even if Sophia paid half of it, half of it we would be able to cope with. But I say that, with the state of the club's in right now, with a whole sell before you buy, was this deal ever going to be on? We'll get to Lammers later on in this video, but this would have been a good, experienced player to have. And I guess you could say, well, the deal's by no means dead, but I would actually say the deal is dead, because it turns out he actually wants to fight for his place in the Sofia team, and it's a wee bit soul destroying. That, like, even a guy that, he's 30, he's not past his peak. He's probably in his peak, but his peak was a couple of years ago, like I said, when he's 30 million. But even a guy like that, it just seems like way out of our league, and it's just a bitter pill to swallow, to be honest. It feels like we're going to be signing nobodies this summer. It really does. And I know a lot of people will be holding out the Champions League money, which, I guess it's, if you want to set your sights on that, go ahead. But look at the last time we got the Champions League. You know what I mean? Tillman, Cholak got us in there. And what happened? We actually spent the money on no one. Or the Champions League isn't as much money as people think, is what we get told. And as much as people will try and say, now, it's worth even more. But if we get that Champions League money, man, we seriously need to use it. We need to use it, and I'm not convinced that we will use it, to be perfectly honest, because we won't. You might get one player brought in, but the more I look at it is, right, you've got last season, and people are like, oh, they backed Beale. See, when you actually look at it, the players that we let go, wages that were out, and fees that we receive, like, for like Cholak and players like that, and Sakala, see the actual net spend, it wasn't even that big. So, I'm not saying Beale wasn't backed, but it's not like we spent 20 million unanswered. But what I will say is, it does look like a shame that the least money we're going to spend in the past few windows is going to Philip Clement. But, Clement's losing a lot of people. I've seen people in the comments, man, it's not just, negative people. But I hate the argument, man, that Rangers fans are being too negative. If you look across the city, they lost a title. Look what happened. I think there's just too many people in our support that are fine with being second best. And I'm not saying whip the barricades and the Sharks out, but, things need to happen. And what is it? People got a fetish, so to speak, for being second place to Celtic. Feels that way because people are saying, oh, well, it's just a wee bounce game. No, it's not just a bounce game. Those mistakes that were made in that game, we've seen, honestly, for about 6 years for some of those players. You know what I mean? And even, obviously, more than 6, but then most of the players that have been in probably that core, like Goldson, he's been there 6 years. And it's never going to be stamped out unless you actually properly stamp it out. But anyway, moving on to a potential sell in Sam Lammers, Utrecht, and what's that other team it's called? I can't even think what the other team's called. What the hell's the other team called? Utrecht. I said Alkmaar, that's the other team. They both pulled out, like, so. And also the news that Rangers came out and said about 2 million. One, Jake, hurry up, dog, man. 2 million, it's like 1.5 less than what was linked earlier on the window. Obviously the 1.5 less gets you to 3.5, but it's like, how are Rangers honestly sitting there like that? what I don't get is how after the half a season that he had is that we can't even be talking about getting our money back. I mean, the guy was like one of the most informed players in the Eredivisie, and we can't even get, 3.5 million. It just doesn't sound right, to be perfectly honest, but it's what it is, troops. This hole that we're in is getting darker, and I don't see it getting much better. I wish I could sit here and say it could, but I think we've splashed cash on the wrong players, on nobodies, and I think we're going to have to sell our best assets, which is not many, to be honest.